The city of Elektrostal. 2013. In one of the shops of the EZTM plant, Elektrostal Heavy Engineering Plant, leased by a third-party firm, a container with the radioactive isotope cesium-137 was accidentally and negligently caught in the smelting of non-ferrous metal. Having sent another batch of frozen metal blanks to the customer, the director was greatly amazed that some were returned with the comment that your products were phoned. The owners of the company went with dosimeters on the shop. They should do this constantly, taking a scrap, but no one did it, but it was too late. Before I get to the subject, I want to ask you to like this video, thus supporting me and my channel. For me, this is the best reward from you. After viewing, do not be lazy and leave a comment about what you know about this event in the city of Elektrostal. It will be very interesting to read. So you are on the channel Wisioner, and this is a video in which I will talk about where radiation came from in Elektrostal, which is located just 50 kilometers from Moscow. Let's get started. After the incident, Emercom, radon laboratory specialists and other services were already in town. It is not clear what was melted down. The internet says that the container with cesium. However, in our country, with drunkards carrying everything lying around, greedy metal collectors and irresponsible businessmen, there's nothing to be surprised about. But we are more interested in what happened later. During smelting, the shop and workers were highly irradiated, and a part of the radioactive dust got into the atmosphere through the furnace pipe and settled to the west of the shop, partially through the territory of the plant, partially from Krasnaya Street to Pervomayskia Street. The precipitation area is almost entirely uninhabited, but in the center of this area there was a solitary bowling alley, Solaris, standing on Krasnaya Street. According to the available information, the radioactive stuffing of the melting was detected by the customer at the incoming inspection, and he returned the products to the manufacturer, after which the manufacturer appealed to the appropriate services. This happened on April 12. It is not specified when the meltdown took place and when it was released, but it seems to have been the same day or the day before. The street was cordoned off, the Solaris was evacuated, and panic erupted in the city, as if a second Chernobyl had occurred. Some people simply closed their windows, while others began packing up their bags and searching for a chemical protection suit in the closet. The bulk of the topsoil in the area of radioactive dust fallout was promptly removed. Many things tending to accumulate dust were taken from Solaris, and things at the plant turned out to be even more serious. Experts from the laboratory of NPO Rodon worked, as well as all the other special services on the job. Panic in the network and the city has not ceased for a long time, and visiting specialists measured up to 5,000 microroentgens/hour in the area of Solaris after all the active paramount measures of disinfection. Begs the question, where is the truth? The special services in Elektrostal coped with the consequences of radiation emergency at the heavy engineering plant located at Krasnaya 19 Ulitsa Krasnaya. All background sources of ionizing radiation were taken to a special landfill for disposal. The situation poses no threat to the life and health of the population. The next day, the press service of the Moscow region's Emergency Situations Department reported. Residents suspected something was amiss on Friday evening, April 12, when they saw a cordon in the streets around the plant and people in radiation suits. There was a rumor about an explosion at the plant and a radiation release. All this greatly frightened the residents of Elektrostal. Residents of the city were afraid that there was a big accident, but they were not informed about it. Many alarming entries appeared in social networks. Some townspeople engaged in self-rescue. They began to board up the windows and tried to leave Elektrostal. Later, information about the explosion was denied by the head of Rospotrебnadzor Gennady Onishchenko. He said the increase of radioactivity was indeed registered and the source was a furnace where a container with cesium-137 was accidentally sent for remelting. At the heavy engineering plant, one of the tenants, who is engaged in the remelting of scrap metal, remelted together with scrap metal, some background material. He got scared, the emergency services were called in and cordoned off the plant. There was no explosion, they just found radioactivity in the melting furnace. Now the cordon is lifted and the cars are moving away, a source familiar with the situation told RIA Novosti on April 13. In turn, a Rosatom representative specified that the radiation level detected in Elektrostal was 113 microroentgen per hour. As nuclear power expert Alexander Uvarov explained, this is an absolutely safe level of radiation for humans. However, in connection with the accident, 4 employees of the plant were sent to the hospital just in case. Due to the accident, the work of the plant was suspended and people were evacuated. The plant's neighbors, Gorgaz and bowling club Solaris, were also in the evacuation zone. They also found traces of radioactive substance there, but the levels are not high, said the head of Rospotrebnadzor. Nevertheless, Solaris was closed and the task was to decontaminate the building. As Onishchenko has noted, after control measurements, the decision on possibility of opening of the center will be made, the Vzglyad newspaper tells. During the inspection, 2 sources of strong ionizing radiation were found. According to the rescuers, 2 metal bolts, which were intended for casting, were found, the Moskovsky Komsomolets newspaper wrote. According to the city administration, a radiation background excess of 10 μsV/H was observed in the area of the plant. At the same time, near the residential buildings, which are located 1 kilometer away from the radiation source, the radiation background was 0.12 μsV/H, which is below the permitted norm. Maximum permissible value of radiation is 0.2 microsieverts per hour. It was decided to decontaminate the buildings of the plant and its neighbors. Onishchenko said on April 13, today's measurements in and around the plant do not give grounds to say that there are any radiation levels that exceed permissible levels and require any special measures. Another interesting event took place in 2011 in Elektrostal, near Moscow. In a military unit near Moscow, 800 soldiers were exposed to radiation. At unit number 3270 in Elektrostal, near Moscow, measurement of radiation background showed a 133-fold excess of the norm. The Command of Internal Troops Unit 3270 used radioactive soil, which was taken away by trucks from the waste storage of Mashnostroitelny Zavod, the largest producer of atomic fuel in Russia, to improve the territory. The fact that the military unit was 133 times more radioactive than the norm became known only 4 years after the improvement, in 2011. If you were interested, do not be lazy, give me a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any more interesting videos on my channel. Hit bell to notify me and share this video with your friends. What else interesting things can you add to this video? Write in the comments, it will be interesting to read.